Hey, everybody. This is Sunny Side Live Sportstake, and we are again talking sports. Uh, yes, we had a show last week, but we are uh, completing our schedule and getting right back on schedule. We have a show every other week, and we had a special show last week for the NFL draft, but now we're getting back on schedule and we going right on with sports. A lot of things are happening. The NBA playoffs is the number one thing. The first thing I want to talk about, fellas, it's the end of a bunch of eras. Last week I talked about the end of one era, but hey, if you look around the NBA, a bunch of eras are over with. And somebody shared that James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard may be added to that era closing that group of people. So let's talk about that. Brother Bert, should we feel down about the end of the era, or should we feel up about the new challenge that's coming, or the new teams and the new all-stars that are bringing it to the forefront?
I'm a little bit split both ways on that, Carl. I'm an old school guy, and seeing the guy that created this league and started this league and put it on the map the way it's on the map now, just over a course of a career of 15, 16 years, your body starts to break down. You're not that young man you used to be, and now you got these young guys coming in here jumping out the gym now. And they got some good players out there, man. I'm still adjusting to some of these new guys, and I'm a big fan of the guy from Minnesota, man, Edwards. I love him, man. I mean, that kid there he balls out. He's one of the new guys that I got my eye on that I like. I think Phil like him as well. But it's all good things got to come to an end. And to be honest with you, and I'm excited about some of the new guys. It just takes a while to get used to them. That's all. The old face has been there, like I said, 10 years or more, and now you got these new guys been in the league the last 4 or 5 years now, and they start to mature some. So you look down the road with these guys we're talking about now, in another 4 to 5 years, they'll be the face of the NBA. So yeah, it's one of those things you just got to come to grips with the old, out with the old, in with the new, so to speak.
That's the bottom line.
That's my take on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that keeps things going.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I want to say that if all three of those teams, Phoenix, LA, Golden State, they want to compete, they got to change some things around.
Right.
Brother Phil, what you think about that? How can they compete?
Well, you can also add Milwaukee to that group.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe even Philly. It's a natural process. I mean, guys are gonna come and go. Good players hang around sometimes a little too long. Yeah. They were once great. They just condensed it down to good. But the new teams that are coming in and the new players, you got to influx the coaches too. I still can't believe what Milwaukee did by firing the other coach and bringing in Doc. But they make decisions based on what they think is best for the organization. But it doesn't always translate, as you can see. So I like to see some new coaches come in too, as well as new players, new ownership. The whole league needs some influx, but it's coming. Whether we like it or not, and whether we're paying attention or not, it's coming. And some of it's already here. Definitely here.
Yeah. This was inevitable for it to happen. I mean, the old legs just don't run as fast anymore and don't push off as. Look at Anthony Edwards compared to Kevin Durant. Hey, you can just see the difference. Even though he's still mighty talented, Kevin Durant, but that energy, that young energy, you just can't compete with that. And if they can have their mind where they're not making those young mistakes, then they have an advantage. You agree with that, Jeff?
Yes, I do. You always have a situation where eventually the old heads, they deplete, they depreciate. It's like an asset. All assets have a depreciable life. And as well as athletes, they have a depreciable life. There's a shelf life. And at the end of that shelf life, that's when you start seeing them deteriorate. Same thing happened to Akeem Olajuwon. He was a dream.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, at the end of his career, he was a nightmare for the team he played for because he wasn't the same player anymore. At some point or another, your skills will erode because you don't have the physical abilities to get up and down the floor and to do things you used to do.
Your mind telling you one thing, not cutting you up, but your mind tell you one thing, but your body's saying another thing.
Exactly.
Your body breaks down,
Exactly. So with that being said, I expected that. I expected Denver to beat LA. I thought they would sweep LA. I really thought they would sweep LA. But LA managed to win one. And so a lot of people blame it on LeBron. But see, what I'm seeing is this here. It's not LeBron. Not a little bit of it's LeBron because LeBron can't just will his team to victory like he used to do in the past.
Him yelling at his coach like that, and everybody on the sideline was not a good look. A good look though. That was not a good look.
Right. But LeBron in the last game, he had 30 points, 11 assists, and 9 rebounds on 11 of 21 shooting. But the problem is his sidekick Anthony Davis, he only had 17 points, and then their bench didn't produce. Their bench only scored maybe 20 points.
But they got nobody else. They got nobody else that's consistent. I got 2 scorers. D'Angelo Russell, man, I'm not a fan of his. I'll just be completely honest with y'all. I'm a diehard Laker fan. I love LeBron. I love AD. But it just, and it just didn't have a good triple threat. They didn't have a triple threat consistently every night. One more thing I'd like to add. I think I said this on one of your posts, Jeff, about Darwin Ham. I just don't think he did a good job of coaching those guys up. I don't think he did a good job of mixing the right combinations. I really think that Prince, before Vanderbilt got hurt, I think they should have started Prince and brought D'Angelo Russell off the bench because he's turnover prone. He's inconsistent with his shooting. He's a showboat, so to speak. He shows off a lot, So I don't like that kind of play. I mean, it's all right sometimes to talk a little bit, but when you're not consistent with your game and you think you out there balling because you get hot 1 or 2 games and now you want to be a show off, that's not enough for me. That's not enough for me for you to be able to think that you at that point on a level, on a level that you're not on. Let me put it like that. So I just think Darwin Ham gave his best, but he just didn't. He just wasn't the guy with those guys there. I didn't like some of his lineups sometimes. I couldn't even watch the Lakers. I'm gonna be honest with you. I couldn't even watch. I only watched the first game against Denver. After that, I couldn't watch anymore because I just felt it. I love the Lakers that much, so I can't sit there and get frustrated like that.
Jeff, you talked about how your picks have come into focus. I want to share
that. I guess a few weeks ago we made our picks on who we thought would win, and all of my picks came in. I picked them all right as usual. I'm an intelligent brother from JY, and that happens. What do you expect? So I got them all right. I'm 8-0. Now I don't think any of you guys 8-0. So
all right, well let's go through the West. We're gonna have 4 teams after Dallas. I believe we'll finish off the Clippers. So who you got in the West out of Oklahoma City, Dallas, then Denver and Minnesota?
Wow. Now that's going to be a difficult one. Denver, Minnesota. Wow.
That's going to be a good series.
I'm going to go with Denver. Minnesota impressed me, though. They really impressed me. The way they just, that last series. They swept the Suns. I didn't expect them to beat the Suns 4-0. I didn't expect that. I thought maybe be 4-2, but they were impressed.
I was thinking 4-2.
If y'all recall, I said it was going to be Denver and Dallas. It's coming out to be that, possibly. What you think, Phil?
I like Minnesota to upset Denver.
I'm with you.
I'm gonna go with Minnesota.
Dallas got to get past OKC first. If they were first, they got to get past.
That is true. Just like y'all projecting that.
Hold on.
Either Denver or Dallas. Either Denver or Minnesota's gonna win. I'm projecting Dallas is gonna beat Oklahoma City. But we'll see. How you doing, Brother Chester? He's not with us yet. But yeah, the playoffs are very interesting, and it's coming out kind of like we thought, except for it's happening quicker. The Lakers are gone in 5 games. Phoenix gone in 4 games. Golden State didn't make it.
Yeah.
The Pelicans didn't have a chance without Zion. So it's happening kind of like we said. You have a comment on that, Brother Bert?
Yes, sir. I you know, as far as my picks, I'm gonna tell you who I got in the finals right now. I'm going Minnesota and Boston. Those are 2 teams I really think gonna be in the finals now. I think OKC is a really good team. They got some young, good talent, man. They got some real good talent. They're playing some excellent basketball. I just don't think they got enough experience to deal with Minnesota. And I think that between Denver and Minnesota, I think Edwards is going to be the X factor with Jamal Murray. I think that he's going to, you know, put some stuff on him that he ain't gonna be ready for. I just feel like that Anthony Edwards, right? And I think those 2 teams right there are coming out of the West. One of those 2 teams going to be, you know, in the finals. But I'm picking Minnesota. I don't see anybody in the East even handling Boston, and Boston play the way they're capable of playing. What they did to Minnesota, what they did to Miami. You know, even though Miami was shorthanded, Jimmy Buckets and the other kid they got, that were hurt, that was injured. But I don't see, even if they would have had Jimmy Butler, I don't think that Miami would have beat Boston. Maybe would have won another game. But I'm definitely leaning with Minnesota and Boston in the finals.
Well, we'll check it out. We're gonna see. How you doing,
All my
Brother
words,
Chester?
Jeff.
Chester's
Oh
in.
man,
Chester.
I'm blessed, brother. I'm blessed.
All right, all right.
Mighty
We
face.
talking NBA playoffs right now. You have a
Hey, man,
comment on the NBA playoffs in the West?
Oh no, man, you talking to the greats, man. I got nothing but love for them brothers. I respect everything they talking about.
All right.
All right, all right. Sounds good. Well, it's going
I'm gonna stay in
on.
my lane.
It's
What's up,
going
Chester?
on, and we're gonna see what's happening.
And boy, life is good, man. God is good. Oh my God.
Tell me about it. Tell me about
I'm
it.
good. I love it. I like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, all right.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at, we got Orlando and Cleveland going on in the West. That's one of the only games I believe tonight, but we're gonna see what's happening.
There's
I
2
think
games tonight.
it's gonna go 7. It's gonna go 7. I believe Orlando's gonna take this one tonight, and it's gonna go back to Cleveland, and the better team will win that particular game. So, as the president said, the second round is right here, right now. So, our next show we will have, they will be close to the finals by the 17th. So we'll see what's gonna happen. Now I want to ask this question. We see all these old players getting booted out of the playoffs. Do we think that they are the best representation to come into the Olympics? Because you got a lot of people from overseas that are the ones that's beating them in the playoffs, like these boys from Orlando that's from Germany, the guys from Canada, all across the board. So I don't think it's a guarantee that you put LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and whomever else up there that they gonna win. But hey, what I've been seeing out of Kyrie, yeah, that was a travesty for them to leave him off the Olympic team. And Mr. President, what you think about that?
I would like to see them take one guy off. Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's always hurt. He's always hurt. I mean, it just seems like every season when it comes down to playoff time, he's always hurt. So I would take him off, and I would like to replace him with the boy from Orlando, the young guy from Orlando, Pablo Banchero. I would love to see them add him and take Kawhi Leonard off. Let Kawhi Leonard go ahead and heal this summer. He's always hurt. That guy needs to.
He might end up giving up his spot anyway. He might end up doing that. I mean, I think he's an honorable guy, but yeah, I agree with you. He's hurting. Why should he take a spot? And he might not even have a chance to play. So,
hey, Carl, look at this roster. You got Drew Holiday, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo, and Kawhi Leonard. There's no way they're not going to win that. There is no way the USA is not going to win that.
I'm not going to say that. I wish we had more evidence, but hey, those international players ain't nothing nice. And
No, sir.
you got to have the right chemistry to be able to beat them. It's not no just show up and you win. Not anymore. So we gonna see when Paris time comes. I'm telling you that LeBron James and Kevin Durant, whoever you put on that list, not just automatically gonna win. They might win, but they're gonna have to come make a couple of comebacks and take it to the limit to win. Brother Bert, you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I see a couple of guys on that team for the US that we probably could have replaced. Durant and Kawhi Leonard. I mean, there's no way that those guys. I mean, Kawhi stay injured more than anybody that I know. I mean, literally, he stays injured. I mean, you remember some years ago when he was San Antonio. That's what got him out of San Antonio. Didn't want to play. Said, he was injured. He went and got a second opinion. So, he adamant about, not playing if he's got a toenail scrape or something. But, and KD the same way, as far as I'm concerned. They're great players and they prime. That goes back to the earlier conversation we had about out with the old, in with the new. We need some new people in there, that's healthy, young, some young guns that's willing to play, and going to lay it out there on the line, and they're just playing for the love of the game. And these guys right here, like I said, they may not even get in the game. They just probably travel with the team and, just sit on the bench and just taking up a roster spot. And you're right. You got these teams now overseas, man. They're good players. It ain't show up and win anymore, like you said. It just ain't that. They struggled a couple of years ago in the U.S. games, the world games. So it's gonna be a challenge, but we do need some younger legs in there, man. Those two guys right there, just right there at the top. I'd have left them at home, back at home to heal in the off season.
All right. Brother Phil, what do you think about that? Again, I say that the United States has a very good chance to lose. Just because you put a LeBron up there does not guarantee anything. And the competitiveness has changed, and you got to have a special team to win in the Olympics. Brother
Okay.
Phil.
Well, my opinion is this. The Olympics is about managing expectations. We have the best players, there's no question. Even with the guys that are old, they still can lead by example because they've got the gold medals already. So here's the deal. You don't have all those foreign players playing on one team. You may have two here, one there. Yeah. They're not, and if you combine them, they might be a little more competitive, and they are going to be competitive as they are. But managing expectations, the expectation for USA is always the goal or nothing else. Bronze won't do, silver won't do. It's always about the gold. Now, in FIBA and some of the World Cup games, yeah, we lose here and there because we don't send our best. But that's to always see where we gauge that anyway by other countries, not by our standards. Our standards are already lofty. So I don't see it being a threat that they're going to lose. It just depends on how bad or how good they play that night. Yeah, they can be beat, but I doubt it. With the very best playing against the other very best, I bet dollars to donuts that we win. I just don't know how bad it's going to be some nights where they may play a close game here, and that's good for them. But the overall opinion in my mind is that the talent here, the ability here is superior because you're not going to have all those guys on the same team. Here and there, you're going to get a challenge. They used to have a guy who used to play for Spain to get 40 every time they played the USA. Oscar was his name. Every time they played, you could count 40. But they didn't win. They play them close. And you're going to have now 2 or 3 guys on a team that could make it even better. But if I look at our roster top to bottom, their roster top to bottom, it's managing the expectation of winning, not anything else. That's just my opinion.
I got you. I just want to say again, you say only 1 or 2 are on the team. yes, that's true, but these days they got 3 or 4 that been through the system, as well as those other 7 or 8 are playing international somewhere, professional ball. And these guys have been on a team together for 10 years, the same team. So the chemistry is better. Hey, I can't wait to see it so I can show y'all what the real world is.
And what we'll do, Carl, I'll bring dollars and you bring donuts. And if you win, you can have my dollars and I'll eat the donuts.
That sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan.
That's a
We're
plan.
gonna check it out. That's not that far off. I think in June. So we gonna
I look
see
forward
what's
to it.
gonna happen with that.
I look forward to it.
Hey, the WNBA is getting ready to start training camp. Jeff, the draft was just a second ago, but now they're getting ready to start. So I didn't know it was going to be that quick, but now we're going to get a chance to see what Caitlin Clark is able to do in the WNBA against professionals. Now, Diana Taurasi and a few more are saying, hey, you know, you're playing against college kids, but now you're playing against women that are playing for their salaries and career. We gonna see what's gonna happen. But I think if you can hit a 30-footer, you can hit a 30-footer. And that's in the WNBA or in college. And also, Caitlin Clark gonna have that girl Boston down low. So if they crowd her, she throws it up to the front, and that girl was the rookie of the year, and she finna go to work because we gonna see what's gonna happen. So it's gonna be very interesting. Angel Reese, I don't know how good she's gonna be. She still gotta get a better jump shot. She's real good down low and got a quick move, but we'll see. So, but the biggest thing, greater interest is in the WNBA now, and that was one of the main things. So we'll see. It's coming up.
I think the influx of these draft picks here into the WNBA is going to really help the league. I'm already seeing the endorsement deals going up. I mean, you see the endorsement deal Caitlin Clark got, huge. So I think the WNBA is going to be taking a step in the right direction with this last draft, and I think they're going to turn the corner. Also, did you guys hear that the Rockies owner wants to petition and get the Comets back? So when the next expansion comes around, don't be surprised if Houston is awarded the team. And Houston
I read that today.
I think it's going to be 2025 next year.
That's next year.
Yeah, I know they are talking about teams in Portland and Golden State, San Francisco area. They already have mentioned that. So we'll see if they add Houston to that mix. But they already have 12 teams. So, you could add 4 more and that'd be an even number so they can make it work out. We'll see. You got to make them work geographically. But now, if they don't do it, now is the time because the interest.
Did you hear that they're making a big deal over the fact that when Caitlin Clark came in for her press conference, it was huge. It was huge. I mean, you're talking about people everywhere. It was a huge extravaganza. And Angel Reese came in for her press conference. There was hardly no one there. And so a lot of people are complaining why the black girl why she can't get the love. The white girl get all that love, and the black girl
I think they need to cut that out.
So what do you guys think about that?
That's just the way it is. That's the way, you can't force people to like you, but what you got to do is win the game, and then you can say, why y'all not here? We won the game. Now, they had a legitimate argument with that. When South Carolina won the championship and everybody was crowding around Caitlin Clark, that made a very good point. But you got to go along with how things are. Well, let me not say it like that. You have to understand and deal with the way things are. I don't say accept it, but you got to deal with it. Phil, what you say on that?
Well, the WNBA, and I said it every time we brought this subject up, is gonna be fine. It's only a 26, 25-year-old league. And every league that came before the WNBA died within 2 or 3 years. Every league. This one is sustained. It's growing. It's getting endorsement. The players are better. And I tell you right now, you talk about Caitlin Clark, talk about Angel Reese, but when they play the Las Vegas Aces with Asia Wilson in the paint and Kelsey Plum at the point, we're going to find out just how good they are. I mean, if those girls, speaking of old and the new, Candace Parker just left the league, so they needed this. If they have half the career that Candace Parker had, that will enhance them too. That girl won 3 championships, 3 different teams, and was a contributor on every one, and been a league MVP, championship MVP. I mean, so those girls had that caliber of talent, but once again, does your college career translate to your professional career? Not a promise. We'll see. I'm hoping it will, but I'm looking forward to. I watch those games. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've always watched them. I got WNBA championship hats from the comments right now.
Yeah, we got to make sure we go to a game this year as a group. We'll get a chance to check it out. Hopefully, it's
Summer's coming back. I'm definitely going.
But we'll come back to that later. Brother Chester, you have a comment on WNBA and what's happening?
Oh, hey, like I said, hey, I'm excited about the WNBA.
Hold on, Jeff. Hold on,
the
Jeff.
influx of this,
Hold on, Jeff.
the new draft that they got. The girls just come in. Cameron Diaz, Rakia Jackson, Lacey Shelton, Angel Reese. It's more than about just Caitlin Clark. They got several players that's going to make impacts this year in the WNBA. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll just be glad when Houston get their team so that we can enjoy it a little bit more.
Sounds good, Brother Jeff. Brother Chester, I'm sorry, you had a comment?
My comment was, once again, I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to let the greats talk about what they know about. I know about football. Y'all handle that on basketball.
Sounds good, brother. We'll handle that.
I'm all about humility and respect and respecting the greats and the goats.
Well, speaking of that, the Texans had pretty good free agency as well as draft, at least from the outside looking in. What do you think are the prospects for the Texans this year? I'm looking for them to go further than they did last year. And hey, they went all the way to almost the AFC Championship. So, hey, almost the next thing is Super Bowl. What you think, Chester?
You said me or Chester? Oh, Chester.
I think that if they let that young coach do his job, he's going to do a tremendous job. And just his energy alone has taken them to where they've gone. But hey, CJ Stroud is not no punk either now. And they're giving him the weapons to work with, and they're getting that defense strong. I expect big things out of him. But more than anything, if you know anything about athletics, a coach will take you a long way. And that coach he has a lot of energy, and those guys love him, and they're playing for him.
Well, he certainly put it out there last year, his first year, and the sky's the limit. And as you say, as long as they give him the support, I see us winning multiple or getting to multiple Super Bowls. I mean, that's just an optimistic view. You see something like that, Bert?
Yeah, I don't see it here next year, to be honest with you, but I do think down the road, that the next 2 years to 3, they'll be a contender to win it all. I do believe that. But each season, this was the first season they had Stroud as a quarterback. This is the first season. Last season was the first year that they had D'Amico Ryans as the head coach. So this year right here is going to be the telltale year for me to see where they're going to go in year 3. You don't want to backslide. You want to see improvement year by year. Sometimes they played with a lot of emotion last year, a lot of energy, and because they were new. You got a new head coach. You got like I said, you got a new quarterback. Everything was brand new again. So we're starting all over. So this is the year to tell if the Texans going to get better. What they won 9 games last year. Was it 9?
They won 10 in the regular season, 11 overall.
Okay, they won 11 games. Well, they got to win 13 this year. They need, because they lost some games last year they shouldn't have lost. When they lost to Atlanta, they lost one to Atlanta that I know they shouldn't have lost. Carolina. Those two games they shouldn't have not lost. So when they get, this is what I'm trying to say is, when you win those games you're supposed to win, then you'll get to that point, a level where you're talking about, Carl, getting to that next level. Winning that AFC championship, you know, and set your sights on that within the next 2 years. If you can make it happen before then, sure, go. You know, sky's the limit. But I think within the next 2 years, the team will really be where they want to be. They'll establish themselves as a contender and a winner. I love the Texans. I'll be honest with you. I'm a Cowboy fan. I'll tell everybody that, but you know, you got to give credit where credit is due.
Sounds good. Sounds powerful. I want to ask a question. We're toward the end of our show. This is the 18th Sunny Far Side Live Sports Take. This is an off-the-wall subject, but Gabby Thomas, who used to do gymnastics, is coming back after 8 years. Also, Tiger is still trying after being hurt and, you know, having a wreck and then coming back. When is it too late? Should they just give it up? I mean, is there a time to do that? Or we on the outside, we shouldn't have any comment about that. Brother Chester, you play football. What is your comment on that?
On which one? On Gabby?
Either one of them, Gabby or Tiger.
Hey man, look at
Go
man.
ahead.
When as such as Gabby's predicament, when you're an athlete, you're an athlete. You can do whatever it is that you put your mind to. Now, as far as Tiger's concerned, you know, Tiger have his mind on too many things. But I've never seen anybody tackle a golfer or breaking a golfer's arm. And hey, those are the tools that they work with. He can do that shit until he's damn near time for him to go. So you know they golf forever.
Understood.
His mind straight.
It's that
get his mind
competitive
straight,
instinct.
You got to get your mind straight. An athlete is gonna always be an athlete.
All right. So you're saying it's not out of the possibilities for Gabby to come back and compete at a high level?
Never.
Okay.
Never. I would have never thought. I would have never thought she would have did what she did in track and field. But hey, man, that lady's an athlete, man. She's special.
Okay, what you say about that, Phil? About when is it time to give up?
Well, Gabby's only 28. I mean, it's not like she's in her 30s. Gymnastics is a brutal physical sport. She probably won't win an Olympics, but if she can get back and do it to a level that, you know, she's satisfied herself, you never know. But for as golf, I mean, they got the senior tour. Tiger, as long as he can make the walk, because you can't, you know, use the cart on the pro tour, as long as he can do that, and I'm sure he wants to be around when his son comes up, because his son is an outstanding player already. He's going to be really, really impressive real soon. He's early teens. So just wait and see. But as far as Gabby, I think she's going to give it a run. I mean, she has to make the Olympic team to make it anything special. That would be special in itself at 28, because usually those girls are doing something else at that time, which she is. But to be able to come back, I actually saw her on an episode of Undercover Boss where she opened up a gym and had a bunch of kids come in there, and she disguised herself as just a person that didn't know what was going on, just owned the gym. And then she finally came out and showed them what she could do. And that was about a year or two ago. So she probably been planning this for a minute, and she did really well.
Yeah, I actually saw that too, Phil.
Powerful. I just want to interject this. For those of you who keep up with track, the guy we highlighted, Quincy Wilson, he competed at the pin relays, and the guy on third leg dropped the stick, and he was 30 yards behind, but he ran a 44.3. He did not win, but he came from way behind. And if you get a chance, check that out. And the guy's 16 years old.
And
So
I hear
just
he's
wanna
going
say
for the
that.
Olympics too. He's not even go to the college. He's talking about trying out for the Olympics.
He certainly should be invited to the Olympic trials.
Yeah, that's what they
He
said.
should be invited. So we're at the end of our show. What is your comment on Gabby, Tiger Woods, Brother Bert?
Well, first of all, I have to piggyback on what Phil said with Gabby. She's young, but that's a sport for young athletes. Usually, women at that age are listening. I've seen them in other countries to be old and they compete, but they never ever get back to the glory days, so to speak. You know what I mean? They never capture those moments when they were younger, but they do compete. So I think she can compete because if she didn't feel that way, she wouldn't be, trying to get on the team. For as Tiger, again, I was before Phil said it. Phil and I, we think alike when it comes to sports. And Tiger he'll never be the Tiger Woods of old to win with these young guys anymore. He's too many injuries. His body is not going to hold up. But he can play in the seniors. You got the seniors tournament, golf tournament coming up this weekend. You got Lee Trevino. He almost 80 years old probably. So Tiger can still play, but he won't be able to compete on a level like he used to. So that's my take on it. His body has been beaten so bad that the accidents, the back problems, the knee problems, and I don't know if you ever played golf. I'm not a big golfer, but I play, and that's torquing your body, swinging and twisting, and man, hell, I got arthritis right now, and I'm 63 years old, and I ain't doing nothing what Tiger doing, so I know he hurt, so, I think it's good you want to compete, but I want to go back real quick, and I'm not gonna harp on this too long. Go back to what you said. When is enough enough? When do you draw the line? And I think, and Chester said, when you're an athlete, you're an athlete. We, as athletes, we never think we're too old. We always feel like we got something left in the tank, whether we want to admit it to ourselves or not. But some of us go too long, and we just go too long, and we just, we used to the glory, the cheering of our names, the people pumping us up, but in the back of your mind, you got to know that there comes a time when, hey, enough is enough. And some athletes can do that and walk away, and some can't. That's just the truth of the matter.
Sounds very powerful. I just want to say,
Paul,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I want to come back to the draft. I think we kind of just flew past that. We didn't really discuss it enough. There is something specifically I want to talk about in reference to the draft. First of all, I gave the Texans a B+ on the draft. Mel Kiper, the NFL draft expert, he gave him also a B+. And of course, Ralph Cooper, Hall of Famer, gave him an A. So, but I really liked what they did in the draft, considering the draft picks that they had, not having a first-round pick. But I really like some of the picks that they had. Also, what I wanted to talk to about the draft is that, what do you guys think about the fact that no black colleges had players drafted? This is the second consecutive year that no player was drafted from an HBCU school. Second consecutive year that's happened. And only one player has been drafted in the last 3 years. So what do you guys think the problem is there? HBCU schools.
I think with the terrain and the way they got things set up, it's going to be very difficult for black colleges to recruit those athletes that are at a high echelon. However, there should be a few that come through, period. And if they don't, I don't think they're doing their job that they should be doing to find those diamonds in the rough. But it's not that surprising because, with all this money out there and the kids, having access to all of this, and the HBCUs don't have as much of that access, they're not going to get the athletes. So it's kind of obvious. But let me ask this, Jeff. Please give us an overview of your interview. Give us an overview of your interview. What went down? What you talk about? What you highlight?
Well, we talked
My
about
brother was on Ralph
HBCU
Cooper
schools.
this
We
past
talked about
week.
HBCU schools and the snub, the fact that no guys were drafted. That's what we started out on first. And then after we talked about that, and then we're trying to figure out what are possible courses of actions to address the situation and what could be done. You know, we have to organize. You have to get the coaches. You got to get the ADs. You got to get these guys communicating with the right people in the NFL circles in order to be able to get their players on notice so they can give their players an opportunity to be noticed and to be drafted. I just think that the more can be done. I don't think it's being done. And then some of it is just flat out that you have to understand only a certain number of players can be drafted. I mean, roughly what, about 270 players? And there are so many universities across the country. There's just so much competition. And you have to understand, in the past, the draft used to be like 12 rounds. Well, now the draft is 7 rounds. So sometimes you're not going to get to those HBCU players if you only have 7 rounds. Maybe if you had 8 rounds, 9 rounds, 10, 11 rounds, and all of a sudden you're getting to the HBCU players. But without those extra 5 rounds, it's just they don't get to them. They just don't get to them.
Brother
But I was
Chester,
saying,
you have a
what I
comment
was
on
thinking
that?
is the possibility that the culture, the white culture, are they penalizing for the fact that when Deion Sanders went to J State, Deion Sanders caused a major stir, and all of a sudden he started getting some 5-star recruits to come to J State, and he was trying to spur the attention so that perhaps more HBCU schools can get 4- and 5-star recruits, and he was trying to bring attention to the SWAC. And I don't think the white culture liked that too much. They didn't like them taking some of their blue chip players. So I think that they're penalizing those schools by not drafting them, so the players will know not to go there. If you go there, you're not going to get drafted. So you make a decision.
I don't agree.
So I just think
penalizing
that
them.
plays into it.
I don't agree with
And then
that.
we talked, of course, we talked about the Texas draft. I went player by player, the guys that they took, and the reason why I feel like they took them, and we had fun with that. So it was a very fun time. I enjoyed it. I always love spending time with Uncle Ralph, the Hall of Famer. Because I've been on that guy since 1974 when I was in 7th grade. So to be on the air with that guy, that's all of that. And he lets you talk. I like to talk. And he let me talk as much as I want to talk. So I really enjoyed the session. The only thing is that the volume was kind of low. That was the only thing. But other than that,
I heard you, Jeff. I was able to hear you. I was able to hear you. I listened. I watched the show.
You was able to hear it, Bert?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
some
I
people
even
say they
sent him a
couldn't
message.
If you stream it, it's better. I streamed it. I heard everything just like we talking now.
Yeah, I did. I even sent a message. I even sent a message to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. Thanks. I appreciate that, Bert. Appreciate the support, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
But I could have talked for another 2 hours, really.
We know.
Let me ask Brother Chester about what do you think of the prospects of HBCUs and not getting any draft picks? Isn't it because they are basically shut out of the money stream?
Well, I mean, money talks, and you know what else walks. So with that being said, hey man, this isn't the first time that this has happened. It's not going to be the last time. And if you don't go to the PWI, they're not going to go to the HBCU because they think the PWI is more polished, the better athlete. And that's not always the case, and it's not always the truth, but it is what it is. And that's just the reality of life, man. The haves and the have-nots. They have it, they have it. And if you don't have it, I mean, hey, but I'll tell you one thing I can tell you about that is, if you can play, if you are truly the deal, as Deion says, they're going to find you. They'll
That's
find
what
you.
I say.
They might not find everybody, but they're going to find you. If you got
Yeah, I don't believe they penalizing HBCUs to try to, shut them out or anything. I think it's just they may need to spend a greater time recruiting and checking out the diamonds in the rough or something like that. But it's the money.
They're not going to do that. Listen to what I'm saying. If you have it, you have it, and if you don't, you don't. The haves versus the have-nots. The have-nots might be the baddest son of a guns in the jungle. But if they don't get that opportunity and they don't get that film, they don't get that look, they won't get the nod. It's just simple as that.
Understood, understood. Well, we are at the end of our show, and I want to ask Phil. Phil, would you give a shout out for A Rocket Moving and Storage, please?
All right, gentlemen. If you all are not familiar with the company, it is A Rocket Moving and Storage. It is a full service moving and storage company. We do residential, commercial, intrastate, office, and corporation moves. Located in 3401 Quarter, we are currently building a 62,000 square foot warehouse, climate control. Just give us a call, 713-748-6024. Ask for Philip Green. And we are definitely one of the top small businesses in the state of Texas. A Rocket Moving and Storage. Just give us a call, and we'd be more than happy to serve you. And appreciate that. That's what we do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I gave a shout out last night on my show also. So we are moving around with that, and we want to make sure we publicize and shower our friends and share everything that we do. We appreciate it. And is there a final word? Our next show will be May 17th in 2 weeks from now, and we'll be back on track with Sunny Far Side. This is our 18th episode. I'm Baruti Carl Alexander. And do we have a final word from somebody? Anybody, Jeff?
I just want to thank everyone for coming on. I appreciate that, guys.
And back to the
we have an
HBC.
all-star cast for our draft show. I'm in the process of putting together an all-star cast, starting at guard, starting at the other guard, starting at one forward, starting at the other forward. And boy, who I got starting at center? I got an all-star cast for you. We just got to make sure that we get the date set. But I have an all-star cast coming. So look forward to the NBA draft show right here.
Real quick, Carl, didn't get a chance to comment on the HBCU situation. There's talent. I promise you, the minute that last name is called on that draft, those phones were ringing for all kind of HBCU kids to get signed. You will hear about somebody this coming year who signed from whether it's a lineman, punt returner, kicker, somebody gonna shine. It's just too much talent out there spread across the country. Yeah, they didn't pick anybody the last 2 years, but a couple of years ago, you had guys picked as high as the 4th round. So that was the 22 draft, but you're gonna get it. It comes and goes. If you had somebody like Dion who could shine a spotlight on players, that would help. But yeah, Chester was right. I mean, you can play; they gonna find you. I don't care if you're playing over in a league in China; they'll find you. They know. The scout. There's no more Lloyd Wells. Lloyd Wells once drove to Dallas and hid Otis Taylor from Worthing in a hotel so that the Chiefs could get him, as opposed to the Houston Texans, which was a Dallas team at the time. I'm sorry, the Dallas Texans, which moved to Kansas City. And he drafted all kind of running backs and quarterbacks. He recruited them. And it was a Pittsburgh Steelers scout that's in the Hall of Fame, a black man, who that's all they did was search HBCUs for talent. They don't do that no more. That's part of the problem why you don't get those guys. But as soon as that draft over, they start calling because they know where they are. They just don't want to pay them and pick them high and don't believe that they're going to come in and do what they've done in the past. Check the Hall of Fame and see how many HBCU players in there. Quite a few.
Yeah.
Very much so. Harold Carmichael. Of course, Jerry Rice.
On and on. Yeah, you'll be doing it for a minute.
Doug Williams.
You can go on and on. No, Doug ain't in the Hall of
Fame.
Oh, Doug not in there?
Not yet. He should be, but he not.
Y'all said Jerry Rice?
Yeah, I said Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice.
About the
you're right.
There's a ton of them in there.
Walter Payton?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was from a different time and a different era. But
Deacon Jones.
Have a new era.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna see some players out of HBCUs. They're gonna be free agent walk-ons. They're gonna try. They're gonna select. They just don't draft it for whatever reason. But they just overlook, man. Like Chester, I agree with Chester, man. It's the have and the have-nots, man. And they look down on black colleges, man. They don't really give a fat rat butt about black colleges, and they pumping money into these big colleges, man, and you know, it's a sad situation because, you know, there's talent there. Like everybody said, there's definitely talent in HBCU schools. There's no doubt about it. You rattle off all those names. So what makes anybody think that there's still not talent there? I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, it's always about the money though. And
Yeah.
if they can shut out a whole group of people so that they have a greater advantage, that's always been the case. So
Right.
we'll see how things go. But if talent is there, they will find them no matter where they are. We all agree on that. So we'll see how things will continue. This has been our 18th episode of Sunny Side Live, and we appreciate it. And we are at our final word, and we'll see you on the May 17th, and we'll continue talking about sports. By that time, we should be close to the finals. I think we'll be right at the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals in both areas, and we'll see what's going on. I picked Dallas and Denver in the West. I picked Boston and Indiana in the East. Jeff, who do you got in the East and the West?
I got Boston versus Denver.
Okay.
I got Boston versus Denver in the finals.
Go in the East. Who you got? What two teams in the East gonna be in the?
I got Boston. I got Boston versus Boston versus
either New York or Indiana.
Yeah, I got Boston versus New York. I got Boston versus New York.
Who you
and
got?
I have Denver versus the Mavericks.
Okay. Who you
Denver,
got?
Denver. Well, Minnesota's going to beat Denver.
Okay.
Minnesota and whoever. That's just my assumption. But in the East, it's definitely going to be Boston. And I would assume New York is on a nice little roll. They'll play them tough. But they won't beat them. But they'll play them tough.
Johnson.
Do you want to throw in with that?
Huh?
You want to throw in with who you think gonna win?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm seeing Minnesota and Boston in the finals. But in just you know, I
show high on Minnesota.
Yeah, they just got too much. They got too much, man. They got something. They got something special over there, man.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting. And by next show, we should be able to see who was right, who was right on in their picks, and we'll check it out next time. Well, we are at the end of our show. I've said that a couple of times, but we're here now, and we look forward to talking with you next time. We thank you. Anything else before we close out?
I appreciate being here.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
All right.